Hello, I'm Joe Walensky from WritersUA, and I'm speaking with some of the many presenters that will be at our WritersUA West event coming up in Palm Springs in March. And today I'm speaking with Matthew Ellison. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Everything's just great. And where are you speaking to us from today?
I'm speaking to you from my wooden cabin in the garden at Romsey in the UK. That's near the south coast of the UK.
Uh,
And it's a very wet garden at the moment. In fact, it's pretty wet all around here in the UK at the moment. We've got floods, and so I'm pretty happy to be sitting here in my garden on the top of a hill.
I'm at the top of a hill too, and it's really wet here in Seattle, but at least that's better than the deep freeze most of the United States is in right now.
That's true, yeah.
Well, if you're probably familiar with Matthew, if you're not, he's been involved in software user assistance for a long, long time now in all types of areas, including contracting, consulting, being a speaker at many conferences. He runs the UA Europe conference that takes place in Europe every year, and which is coming up again this summer in Krakow, Poland. He was named the Horace Hockley Award winner by ISTC in the UK. He is a certified instructor in many tools, including RoboHelp, and Captivate, and Flare. And at the Palm Springs event, he's going to be talking about several different topics. So, Matt, why don't you give us a brief overview, starting with publishing to mobile devices with RoboHelp?
Okay, yeah. Well, this is a topic which is becoming, I think, increasingly important these days. The help we used to write was always for computer screens, laptops, desktops, but nowadays our users are beginning to use mobile devices, phones and tablets. And so the tools have really got to come up with new ways of presenting the help information. You can't just use the old tri-pane window that we've been used to with Microsoft Help and Web Help. So there've been some very interesting new developments in RoboHelp over recent and forthcoming releases. RoboHelp 10 saw the new multi-screen HTML5 output, which is a kind of adaptive output which tests what kind of device the user is using and then displays different content in a different layout depending on which device they're using. So a user is going to see your content looking completely different on a desktop computer than on a mobile phone, for example. And then in RoboHelp 11, which will be out, I think, by the time that the conference is on, there's going to be new ways from RoboHelp of supporting multiple screens. So I'm going to be looking at these new features of RoboHelp and recommending different ways of supporting multiple devices, whether it's using these new technologies in RoboHelp or just taking particular precautions with Web Help or with the EPUB format to make sure that your information is gonna play well in different devices.
All right. Well, moving on to the next topic, you're going to be doing techniques for high-powered single sourcing with Flare.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, people tend to think of Flare as being a help authoring tool, but it's actually more than that. It's a tool that can produce not only help, but also good printed documentation in the form of PDF. It will also output to a very nice mobile format. So again, there are particular techniques you can use within Flare to make sure that your information is going to work well for all these different formats. One of the things I'll be looking at is the style sheet and how you can modify your styles for different media. So you can actually create a base style, but then say, well, when I'm outputting to print, I actually want these styles to be slightly different. So you can create kind of medium specific overrides. And we'll also be looking at how you can use advanced conditions to filter out particular pieces of content which may not be appropriate for different output types.
All right, and then finally, you're also doing a topic called topic length presentation called Topic Length and Granularity.
Yeah, I didn't want to be talking about tools the whole time at the conference, so I picked a topic which has always been of interest to me. It's kind of how long should a topic be? How long's a piece of string? I remember hearing about some interesting research a few years ago that one of the galleries in London, one of the portrait galleries did. They were looking at how much information they should put on the little card that's posted beneath the portraits that tell you what you're looking at. And I think I remember reading that they discovered that if you put more than 60 words on one of those cards, people stop reading them. So there's definitely a kind of sweet spot in terms of the amount of information you can provide before the information you provide just becomes overload and it becomes self-defeating. And I think this applies to help topics as well. And there's been some interesting sort of trends over the years. We saw a trend in the sort of mid 90s where Microsoft were making all their topics very minimal, just a few lines or a single paragraph. But then since then, the trend has been much more towards providing extended articles and very long topics you have to scroll through. So I thought I'd look at that. I'd talk about the pros and cons of longer versus shorter topics, what the current fashions are, and really look at how it affects the usability. And I've been doing a little bit of testing on real users, presenting them with the same information but breaking it down into longer or shorter chunks, and seeing what effect that has on their performance.
All right. Well, there's obviously a lot of information you're going to be talking about, so people have the chance to meet with you at the event. Thanks for taking the time to do this, and we'll see you in a couple of months in Palm Springs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Joe.